The night sees a new avatar when lit up, showing us the cities of lights, creating an emotional bond with the citizens and visitors. And we at Jaquar Lighting help them shine through. A leader in complete bathroom solutions, and now foraying in architectural and facade lighting in India. Right from project designing and planning stage to material supply and flawless execution. Our dedicated professional lighting, simulation and design teams and project management teams pan-India ensure top-notch quality and unmatched after-sales service.
A very, very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Pinky K, and I am super excited to host this webinar for iDAC. So let me tell you a little bit about iDAC. iDAC focuses on core applications, practices, processes, products, services, and technologies in the infrastructure development, construction, and architecture segments. It is a platform curated by the professionals for the professionals. Under the banner of Nova Exhibition and Conferences, iDAC has executed over 22 conferences and B2B exhibitions in 2 years. iDAC, in its 2 editions held in 2019 and 2020, witnessed 25,000 professionals and 400 speakers across a 2 lakh square feet extravagant design exhibition, multi-stream conferences in Mumbai. Over its course, iDAC has received an overwhelming response from the public and private sectors alike. It is a forum for policymakers, business enterprises, and technocrats to receive the much needed exposure and information through relevant content shared by the industry professionals. The forum updates projects proponents and participants on common technology, best design practices, and materials. iDAC team motto is to create the change in the building construction industry. We have gathered here today for an engaging discussion on how much light is too much light. The subject will emphasize on light pollution in urban spaces and the do's and don'ts of city lights. This evening, we have with us eminent groups of professionals from varied fortes who will enlighten us on the nitty-gritties of the subject. Without further ado, I now introduce our panelists here presenting. First, we're going to start with Miss Ekta Sanghvi from Mumbai. Sorry, she's from Pune. Lighting designer and consultant, director at the Lighting Concepts Private Limited, and also a member of FICCI Flow. She is internationally known for both her theoretical and practical knowledge about architectural lighting. Each of her dynamic and innovative assignments builds on over 15 years of innovative exploration and research in the interconnected fields of architecture and design. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Ms. Ekta Sanghvi. Next on our panel, ladies and gentlemen, we have architect Shirabhanu Merchant from Nagpur. She's the principal architect at One Square Designs, a vivacious and discerning personality of refined taste with a passion for creating elegant designs. Shira believes strongly about designs being purposeful and joyful, and as spaces that inspires its users. Stylish, classy, and opulent designs combined with excellence in execution is her forte, adding a different zing to her projects. Innovative design practice that engages in bold experimentation, coupled with strong decision-making and a variety responding to different client sites, exemplifies her role in her successful career spanning over 25 years. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome architect Shirabhanu Merchant. Moving on to our next panelist, we have architect Nandita Bhatt from Gurgaon, Delhi. Director, IAP architect, ICAO CD instructor, Udaipur. She's an experienced airport director, general manager with a demonstrated history of working in the airlines aviation industry, skilled in AutoCAD airports, construction, leadership, and contract management. Strong operation professional with the IAP focus in aviation management from AMPAP by ICAO ACI. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome architect Nandita Bhatt. And now moving on to our next panelist, we have Mr. V. Suresh from Mumbai. He's the former chairman and managing director, Housing and Urban Development Corporation, HUDCO. Vasudevan Suresh is a civil engineer from Anna University, College of Engineering, Windy, Chennai. With over 53 years of professional experience in the housing, infrastructure, rural and urban development, and a built environment sector. He has worked in various government Indian expert groups on housing, urban development, building technologies, disaster mitigation, and sustainable development. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. V. Suresh. Moving on to our next panelist, Mr. Gaurav Bhalla from Delhi. He is a senior DGM at Jaquar Group. He has been in the lighting industry for approximately 25 years and has worked in various fields of lighting, starting from lighting design to project execution. He has worked with companies like Philips, GE, Bajaj, and has vast experience of lighting. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Mr. Gaurav Bhalla. And now we welcome the moderator for today's discussion, Dr. Amit Hajena. He is an architect and urban designer involved in professional practice and consultancy since the last 27 years in the disciplines of architecture, interior, and urban design, having designed and executed over 150 projects, besides his academic association and research contributions. He is a fellow of the Indian Institute of Architects, fellow founding member of Institute of Urban Designers, India, member of Indian Institute of Interior Designers, Institute of Hospital Engineering, life member, Indian Confederation for Healthcare, accreditation, and expert member on behalf of Council of Architecture, and currently National Secretary, Institute of Urban Designers, India. Now I will ask Mr. Dr. Amit Hajena to take over the discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Pinky. It's indeed a privilege to be part of this session today, and also to be amidst some of the finest professionals in the industry who are part of this event today. So I greet all my fellow panelists who have joined us today evening. And as we all know, that lighting has been something which is so integral to us, and for billions of years, we have been a part of experiencing lighting as a very, very orderly movement of the sun and the way the day and night event happens. And the body rhythms are also being articulated and governed by some of those rhythms. But over the period of time, with technology taking over, we have seen that the quantum of artificial lighting, which is now being utilized by our cities and our urban environment at large, and also at our homes, there has been a huge disruption in this kind of cycle. Of course, lighting per se has a great role to play. I mean, it has a great perception, or sensory perception that we are all part of. And it certainly has a great quality to uplift our moods. It has quality to change the environment and in the entire appeal and experience of the environment, which we experience on a daily basis. But having said that, there are equally some very, very significant concerns over the excess of lighting, which is also called as lighting pollution these days. And then how this is impacting the environment at large is what we'd like to debate and discuss in today's session. Besides many more aspects of lighting design and the concepts of lighting which are critical to the industry and to the built environment at large. So I'll begin this discussion with my first question to Mr. V. Suresh. Sir, in your opinion, how can lighting contribute towards crime prevention through environmental design?
I think you're getting onto external spaces straight away, not internal. So I think this is a very important component of the lighting levels on the street lighting required for all spaces, even outside the building, the yard lighting and other related movement there. And that's an important component in all the city-based design approach. A substantial amount of interventions have happened lately on the external lighting component. I think the most important issue that comes over in the case of external lighting is put all the lighting down from the level it's coming into the space that's below. Never take it above the level that we have over the nadir level. We have put a 5% limit on that as far as IGBC ratings are concerned. Even USGBC lead rating also has got certain conditions to deal with that. But I think a larger level important component is the nature of lighting intensity that can be brought in and also bring down the level of the power required for the same. So we have seen a long way in the last around 2 decades time, a phenomenal change from the earlier one to the CFL down to the LED. EESL done a wonderful job, Energy Efficient Services Limited, where most of the street lighting component could be brought down to as much as the LED bulbs, saving over 400 odd crores of rupees in terms of energy levels, bringing down to roughly savings of the order around 40% of energy levels being brought down by using that. At the same time, intensity of lighting, the illumination levels not being brought down. Again, depends upon the right level of fixtures to be brought in these particular cases. As far as the external space are concerned, even within the external spaces, you'll have to also ensure that the spaces required in gardens and other related one, try to do that. It should not affect the external environment. That's an important component. The nocturnal environment outside should not be affected. And at the same time, we should be able to guiding at the right level, at right distances, as well as heights that you provide. All these are very important component that's required. That's as far as the external space are concerned. Predominantly, it will come in large number of occupancies where public access and related things are coming, and the municipal corporations and municipalities deal with the street lighting regimen, as well as the other developers which provide the external lighting features in the spaces outside the building have got to take this into account in a large way. There are excellent solutions coming with the illumination engineers being brought in, lighting designers being brought in over there, and having been part of the IGBC for the last 20 years, we attach substantial importance to this particular area, and the Energy Conservation Building Code brought out by the Ministry of Power, as well as the National Building Code of India, Part 8, Section 1 in particular, on lighting and ventilation, has got a very detailed provision on the right level of illumination levels that we have to provide for all exterior spaces, because you're touched on that one. I'll come on to the interior spaces later, but this will in a very large way help us to ensure that the law and order is very well ensured, and it's also possible that even from the point of view of security teams or other related teams dealing with that, with the police or whatever, they'll also be able to deal with this in a large way. I found recently in the smart city components there, large number of these external lighting features and the type of thing has helped nab large number of culprits doing many mistakes over there as a result of the right level of thing, and the camera is able to catch those particular one as well. I would say it's a very positive, provided we ensure the right level of lighting fixtures to be done, the right heights to be done, the levels of intensity provided, the distances between the poles that should be maintained. So you'll be able to get uniform lighting, not a spot lighting, then a darkness coming. That also is bad. So you'll have to use a part of details. I can't go more into that particular thing at this point of time. I'll stop at that level. I'm sure we'll pick it up later once the interior environment of the buildings are concerned.
I agree with you, absolutely. The critical part here is to and eliminate the hot spots or the dark spots,
Yes.
and how the lighting distribution is being maintained over the
Absolutely.
streets, which gives you not only the right illumination levels in terms of lighting, but at the same time, it also gives you the perception of security, which is very, very important for the user in terms of accessibility. Now, I'll move ahead from here, and probably we'll look into other dimensions of lighting and as how lighting plays a very important part. Heritage has been a very significant component of our civilization, and then we have had immense value of heritage of the civilization and also in India per se. I would like to ask Ms. Ekta Sanghvi that how, in your opinion, lighting can be celebrated as integral part of architectural heritage, and what should be the criteria for deciding the lighting characteristics of heritage buildings? Ekta Sanghvi, please. Yeah.
Good afternoon, everyone. The entire criteria depends on from where the project is begin, what is the concept of the whole thing, and then what is the execution like. It's basically a confrontation between the architecture, the archaeology, the history of the heritage structure, the graphics that you would want to utilize, the geography of it, whether it is urban or whatever the zones it's falling in from 1, 2, 3, 4, the economics and the technology which is necessary to have put to place together before you start looking at the criteria and considerations in terms of heritage lighting. Mainly because you need to consider the conservation, the enhancement of all these locations. You also have to consider in terms of the cultural and the living beliefs of the communities that are living around, and all the people who would like to come, or rather all the people who come there across from the world who are attracted to such places to observe the beauty and feel the spirit of this basically heritage structure. So these are some things that are taken into considerations before you look at the heritage lighting. Always it's the aspects of the exposing the fixtures, how well it is illuminating, whether it is light and shadow, the dramatic play of lights, the strategic lighting engineering, and the architectural solution to it. Because you have to keep in mind in terms of the some certain considerations that it cannot disturb the flora and fauna in the entire space surrounding the heritage structure. It's not about illuminating and floodlighting the entire structure. It is about how well you aesthetically bring it out, the 3D, the look of it in a 3D manner. The components which will actually sit where you are there and you look at the structure, it says, wow, this is something that was there in our heritage. This is something there that to flaunt, and gives us a complete theatrical appeal to the entire thing. So it's not necessary to have too many lights or colorful lights. It could be very minimalistic, but something which brings out the entire character of the heritage structure.
Okay, thank you. And certainly, I mean, the lighting adds to the celebration of heritage. Yes. And I think it's the color, the material, and the elements of architecture which contribute to the overall aesthetics of the building per se, and which, when supplemented by right kind of light with the right temperature of light, I think it creates a huge difference into to the celebration of the monument at night. And then these should be great places by night.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
I'll move ahead from here, and I'll probably move to architect Shera Banu. You're also an urban designer, and I think the quality of urban life and urban experience is something that we are part of as part of being urban designers and architects. So lighting there becomes a very important part of our urban experience. And this experience, particularly with respect to public places and nightlife, is very, very critical to our urban environment. So how, in your opinion, lighting design can contribute to accentuating the public spaces complemented by urban landscape?
Thank you, Amit. Good afternoon, everyone. I think, Amit, today's cities are living almost 24 hours. 24/7 we have cities living, especially metropolitan areas. And yet too often we find that designers and planners, often have ignored this potential of nightlife and lighting, which shapes our urban environment. And it is almost like 50% of our time is in the dark, and we have not potentially utilized it to the best of our abilities. So well-designed nighttime lighting can influence the way we use and enjoy a city, and the way you move in the streets, and the way you feel about it. So whether you're feeling safe, or you're feeling insecure, or whether you're feeling secure, which path to take, it all depends on the kind of lighting we have in our urban environments. So the right type of night lighting can make shift workers, especially people on con-call duties, or these type of workers, to move out and go to their places, from their workplace to their home in the after dark commutes. So particularly I feel that in small cities like Nagpur, we find that it's a safe place, especially because the infrastructure is good here and the lighting is good, so we don't find it as an issue. But places at other places where, as you said, hotspots are there and even lighting is not there, people might not feel safe because of inadequate lighting. So lighting is a very important element which lights up our life in the night. We would like to socialize outdoors. We would like to contribute to the nighttime of the economy. There are so many, the urban youth especially, they are working from morning till evening late hours, and actually they want to socialize in the evening. So light is a very important component where it helps a person psychologically to move out and socialize in the night. That's what I feel. So
Absolutely.
safety standards need to be met.
I agree with you. And of course, the cities have to be enjoyed at night, and there is a quality of nightlife which has to be, be integral part of our lifestyles. In fact, the proposed master plan for Delhi 2041 has laid a lot of emphasis on light night in cities, and cities are celebrated by night. And then Paris is one fantastic example how you can actually celebrate a city by night.
It actually enhances our cultural experiences, encouraging social interaction and encouraging a lot of different activities wherein we can relax, take our downtime in a more casual manner, feel safe basically about moving around.
Absolutely. Now moving from this lighting in the public spaces, there's again a very significant part of lighting as part of our infrastructure. So I would like to put this question to Mr. Gaurav Bhalla, particularly from the point of view of the use of high mast lighting in urban areas. And this high mast lighting contribute to tremendous scattering of light and sky glow. So how can this be minimized? And this is a great source of visual pollution. Mr. Gaurav Bhalla.
Yeah, right. See, high masts are essentially required to illuminate a wide area. So what happens is you need to have the luminaires which can throw light at a distance, from a distance. Now I'll tell you what happens is when we aim the luminaires from the horizontal at an angle of around 45, 60, 65, the idea is to throw the light as far as possible. But that causes a lot of light scattering. So I'll give you one interesting example where it was eliminated and how we did that. I was doing a project where it was a port, and the turtle hatchlings was something of prime importance because they were getting extinct, and they wanted to save as many as possible. So what we did was we used double asymmetric luminaire. Those days, of course, it was sodium vapor lights and metal lights used to be there. So we used a double asymmetric luminaire so that you don't have to go for a high aiming angle as high as 45 or 60 degrees. The entire idea went so successfully. Of course, we were not the ones who executed the order. There was somebody else. But the design was so successful that a similar kind of implementation we did at an apron also in one of the airports. So the infra problem also was solved up to a large extent with the use of, I can see Nandita ma'am agreeing to it when we are using the double asymmetric luminaires at some of the places in aprons. So it's a very ideal kind of a solution when we use today with LEDs, when we use the right kind of lenses, which can provide an asymmetric beam distribution, so as you are giving the right kind of light at the right place without increasing the aiming angle of the luminaire.
So what is your take on the scattering of light and also its contribution to light pollution? Can it be achieved through the right kind of luminaire design?
Yeah, that's what we do at Jaquar. We use the kind of lenses which are most appropriate for such kind of solutions. We do avoid the scattering of light by minimizing the symmetric beam distribution. The idea is we have a team of light designers who interact with our product managers, who interact with the clients, and what they do is work out on the right kind of customized product, which can be the right solution for the applications. And the light scattering, of course, contributing to light pollution is definitely a problem which can be eliminated only and only with the use of right kind of luminaires.
Right, thank you. So I think now I'll slowly move to the infrastructural components and move towards airports, since you mentioned airports. And my question then goes to architect Nandita Bhatt. Particularly, we see a lot of utilization of LED fixtures. Of course, we know the kind of conservation of light and lighting which can be achieved through use of LED-based luminaires. But particularly for airports where the volume is very high, we tend to use the luminaires which have got high intensity of lighting. And somewhere it also contributes to adding to the heat loads of air conditioning. Now, what could be the alternatives that could be explored to achieve the desired lux levels through the design of luminaire, the installation, and the output of the luminaire, and particularly with reference to airports?
Okay, yeah. Firstly, Namaskar, and thank you so much. I think all the panelists have actually gathered a lot of points in talking. But what I'll come to, we are a city into ourselves, and we work 24/7. And it's just not the air travelers as passengers that we take care of. It's a lot of other things of cargo also going on. And as airports, we are into retail, hospitality, business, and logistics. And one of the very important thing is we are like brand ambassadors to those cities or countries wherever people are entering into. So that makes us a little more exclusive to stand out as a building also. Coming to the point that you've been talking, we need to be ensuring 2 or 3 things when a person is designing light for us. They have to ensure that it is optimizing the operations. So if it's security, there is enough of light for you to check. And also when the passenger has to get in somewhere and enter, the baggage has to be clear. And security is one of the major issues for us. And when we talk of the buildings inside, what you're talking, the HVACs, load getting, maybe more increased because it's more lighting, then I believe I'll come with a statement which says, always design the lighting system before you actually design your HVAC. I can talk more of a concept to the people who are more into designing and their engineering when it comes to light engineering, is to keep in mind the determinant factor that when you're designing light, what is the kind of ambient that you're wanting to create, the tasks that you want people to complete, the essence. And there's another factor that I would like to add and maybe come to that later is the decorative part of it, which would be. So for us, what we want when we are designing as architects and lighting together is to understand how we can use the day lighting factors walking into our terminals. That is something which is very important. So in technology, what is requested is either automated systems, which can adjust to your day lighting, which is there to ensure that the amount that is required, the lux level for a particular zone. That's why it said, please divide your tasks. So if it's security, we know we cannot miss out even by any ounce of a percentage to default there. Where in some areas where you have public to be eating or sitting and relaxed, can still be where you can have a little variation of lighting systems to work. So I think through our structured designing is what of the lighting system and the pattern is going to be reducing the load on the, of course, HVAC. And two, of course, are we getting into the technology as you are into designing? I think Gaurav will be able to be working on it more and inform us that what are those automated systems which can ensure how the loads are reduced through the day lighting factors. And I heard when Mr. Suresh was talking that there has to be a particular level where your pole sizes could be, or where came the issues of the high masts that we're talking of. And with airports, high masts are a major control zone. And when we design for airports, another point that you need to take care is we are regulated by regulated authorities, which give us a norm and a particular level of lux that we need to achieve. And please remember, we are not only creating light when it comes to only terminal and HVAC. We have another sector that we talk, which is airside, which is very important. So for us, the control has to come with technology, be it LEDs or any other new innovations which are coming up. But yes, task design is going to be very important.
Absolutely. I mean, that's where there's a lot of opportunity for innovation. And you rightly mentioned the optimization of the lighting levels with respect to the day lighting. And many airports have been able to utilize and very effectively balance the day lighting with the lighting. And if we are able to do that, it contributes tremendously to energy conservation at large. So I'm sure that that's something which has a great opportunity to be looked at. Of course, the zoning of the lighting patterns in different areas of the airport then becomes very significant. And probably each would have its different kind of demands in terms of lighting intensity and lighting levels. So I'll move ahead from there, and probably I'll again take on similar components of infrastructure. And my question goes to Ms. Ekta Sanghvi, is that what is the correlation? I'm getting a little more technical into some of these things. That what is the correlation between spacing, pole height, fixture mounting arm, intensity of light, and mounting angle for uniform dispersal of light for different right-of-ways of roads? This is something which Mr. Suresh also mentioned, but this is a hardcore design issue and something which needs to be worked upon in terms of a lot of empirical values which can be drawn, and the design decisions can be taken to achieve the desired levels at the surface. So what's your opinion on this?
Thank you, Professor Dr. Amit. This particular question, I would like to put it up as a small case study that we recently did on Senapati Bapat Marg as a complete illumination of a 1 mile of a project in Lower Parel, Mumbai. Now here, this is just an assumptions. These are some, if I have to put it up, these are some figures that I would give you for your basic assumptions before you choose the height of the pole, the width of the road, plus the arm width, the kind of beam that you would want, the color which is required for a street light. So all of these parameters are extremely important before choosing your pole, wattage. Everything is interrelated. Width of the pole decides usually the height of the pole, which is a number of rows in terms of height of the pole that we have. That does not mean that if I have 4 rows and I can go up that much in terms of height. It only means that then I need to bifurcate and make sure that I'm having poles on either sides. If it is, let's say, a 2-lane road, I can just go to a simple height of, let's say, 9-meter road width can have a 9-meter height of the pole. With efficient fixtures, we can go maximum up to 3 to 4 times the height of the pole. So here, generally, what people do is, so if the height is 9 meters, they will simply put it at 18 meters another pole for a 9-meter width road. But in reality, it is supposed to be, if it is efficient, the fixtures are supposed to be efficient, then your calculation will take you minimum 3 to 4 times the height of the pole. So that is what the efficient fixtures are. Color is very important in terms of choosing the street light. A 3000 Kelvin, if you all remember, we had sodium vapor earlier. Now it is being changed into LEDs, which are about almost 4000, 5000, and 6500 color Kelvin, which is not right. What it needs to go back is towards a 3000 Kelvin. 3000 as a color has a larger penetration capability as compared to a 4000 color Kelvin or a 5000 color Kelvin. And 5000 becomes more of it, if I have to put it up, becomes a scotopic vision. Now, I'm equally getting into some more additional information, which would be helpful to everybody. There are three types of vision that we have. That's photopic, scotopic, and mesopic. So mesopic is something that we should look for when we are designing these spaces. Then comes, when you're saying direct correlation between all of this, is the uniformity that you're going to achieve by doing your calculations in terms of lighting lux levels. The kind of wattage is equally dependent on the efficiency of fixtures. So even if you're doing 4 times the height, you can go as low as around 75 watts and not more than that. So there are fixtures which will make it more efficient, as against simply doing it without calculation in these days. They just want to put up, I don't know why, 5,000 and 6,000 Kelvin, which is not right even for a driver's eye.
Right, thank you. I think we'll go on fast. We'd like to cover ground as much as possible. So my next question is to Mr. V. Suresh. Since we're talking infrastructure and the urban environment. So, sir, in your opinion, how automation technology can contribute to energy conservation in urban infrastructure projects?
Phenomenally. That's going to be the buzzword now. Automation is going to be very major, especially on illumination levels to be done, where to light, where not to light, and how do you control the lighting intensity depending upon different parts of the time. It can play a very, very important role. Let's see, even external lighting, if you want at a peak level to go from 6 o'clock till about 12 o'clock, maybe 12 to 5 o'clock, we can bring that down substantially to a lower level. So the consumption light levels are slightly lower, but then that can be done. And more so in all residential spaces, office spaces, hotel spaces, hospital spaces, it can have a very major impact using the right level of sensors and automation systems which are there. I was just recently in one of the good hotels in Bangalore 2 days back for an MEP conclave, and wonderful way in which the whole lighting level design was there, where by just turning on the particular one, the whole intensity level comes down. You get maybe of the order of around 110 lumens or 150 lumens. You can bring that levels down to as low to what you want over there. Automation can play an important role, and automation can also play an important role where only when people sensing where you are traveling over there, lights will come at that particular point of time, and not necessarily so are able to sense that particular one, primarily in corridors, in a toilet-related area, public toilet-related area, and they are able to do that in a very large way. And therefore, at the end of the day, you require the lighting level, intensity to the right level, and more importantly, the energy needed for making that lighting to be brought down as low as possible. Can you bring down from 1.5 watts per square feet down to 1.2 watts per square feet, 1 watt per square feet? Our own levels, benchmark level is 0.6 watts per square feet. That's the level we can bring. And all this is possible by bringing in a lot of automation. That itself is a topic. We can have a whole day program only on automation and what it can contribute to lighting. Where the electronics team over there is working with the illumination engineering team along with the lighting illumination design team over there, and they can work on phenomenal potential is there, according to me. And all the smart new buildings which are coming, we have at least around 20 of the IGBC rated buildings recently have brought in these type of issues. We get all the functional lighting level at all the important spaces. It cuts through all the type of occupancy with hospitality industry or healthcare industry or office spaces. And office space, again, another area where you have the timings and other related one, you require therefore those fixtures there, but you don't want it at all points of time. The answer is loud, yes, Amitji, we can work on it. I cannot overemphasize the importance of automation in this particular thing, and all the latest sensory techniques that we have, and this is where the electronic engineering team, along with the good lighting group, I'm happy that Gaurav is there from Jaquar side. They themselves have very good options which are coming in the sector. We can utilize. All the lighting teams are working on this area, and they are very, very keen to see that the energy conservation level is brought down substantially. Even ECBC brings out some of the importance needs for this particular thing in the 2017 version, including for the residential building with the Eco Niva Samhita. They have brought those issues there. I'll stop at that. We got to take it forward. Great potential. Any investment that you do on that, I got a figure on that. we are able to put a little more additional capex which can go into this particular area to bring in this automation issue. You'll have to put in, obviously. The automation means you have to put that. Then you have more than, with the type of saving that you come, the payback period comes to less than 1.5 years. The operating cost comes down substantially in a large way. So here you are, a capex that's put over there, and less than 1.5 years of operation. The whole money is taken by the savings that come in the operating costs, the energy costs, etc. And at the same time, you're not denied anybody who needs the lighting at the right place at the right time. You're not denied that. That's being provided also.
Absolutely. I think that's where a lot of work has to go. And I think the Bureau of Energy Efficiency.
I'm a strong advocate for that.
Yes. And Bureau of Energy Efficiency also needs to now come up with some kind of guidelines for urban infrastructure projects. This is something very, very critical. And I think that's the step way forward ahead in looking at the energy conservation at the next level. And that's what smart urban development is all about, where we try to bring in and use the right kind of technologies for the kind of energy issues, or maybe the urban issues which are confronting our cities are being put to order. I'll quickly move. The time is running out. My next quick question to Ms. Nandita Bhatt is that you also install a lot of signages, and signage is a very important part of urban environment.
Yeah.
Now, this excess of signage also leads to glare and discomfort. So what is your take when you talk about external environment of an airport or an urban environment, so to say, which is a window to the city? How would you like to develop some controls to ensure that signages still continue to be part of the urban landscape, but yet prevent that discomfort which probably they cause?
So for us, signage is going to be two-sided again, as I said. For the pilots, which is again something very different for us, and we have to maintain that as per our manuals which are required. And now coming to our city side, of course, there's a lot of direction that needs to be given to people, even in the terminal and outside, because you have to ensure a correct flow of passenger to move in a particular direction. We try every possibility to either now start working on LEDs which can be used, or self-illuminating materials if they're walking in, or have signages in such a manner and designed in a place that from the very ambient lighting of the structure, the building, which is doing it for the whole structure, is also so placed that it lights your signages as an external point. So I think cutting it short, we need to be very careful from, as they say, from accenting to floodlighting kind of a situation. You need to be careful with the kind of signages that we place in. But for us, that's a very important integral part, and we cannot just remove it. So yes, we wait for new technology to walk in to tell us what more can be done from rather just backlit or maybe the frontlit kind of signages. Self-illuminated.
Is your ministry working towards that?
Not too very much, I think, because people usually are more into designing light when it comes more for the people than to think that what other paraphernalias are attached to it. That's why I said if they are designing for a task, then in that particular zone area, they can also see where the signage can be placed, that particular lighting can be used to, have that particular signage also lit through it. So that is something which really needs to be looked deep into with the, the architects, the designers, and the light technologists who have been working.
Right. So I mean, we're running out of time. So two very quick questions. One, the last one to Ms. Shara Merchant, that how, in your opinion, lighting can contribute towards imageability of our urban environment? You're muted.
Thank you once again. I think electric lighting has radically transformed the way we live and also the way we perceive our cities. So it is through properly designed lighting that we are able to take cognizance of the fact that, how we live in a city and, how we map our cities. Each of us has a typical mapping, a brain mapping of how and, the place we live and how we traverse that city place. So it's the character of the design lighting design that can create soothing environments. Like for example, the Gardens of Paradise in Singapore, vis-a-vis throbbing and stimulating and what do you call, flashy billboard kind of a lighting street in Las Vegas, USA. So obviously the billboards which is highlighting and stimulating is good for the business, but it is not necessarily good for the consumers or the people who are traversing the street. So imageability is it needs to be a combination. We're not saying that because we are in cities we need stimulation, but to what extent and to what and of what sort. So soothing and calming environments can also create that kind of imageability. It is for us lighting designers to be having that kind of a nuance when we are designing to the kind of impact and to the kind of effect you want to create. So just by having the rush of adrenaline is not the way forward. That's what I feel, because billboards normally they have a horizontal lighting which obviously leaks into the sky and you cannot stop it. That's the problem of this sky glow which we call it. So it's not at all the right thing to do. So we need to have these kind of very subtle measures to have the kind of lighting and have the imageability improved through subtle lighting. That's what I feel.
Of course, I mean it's so very important. I'll give the last word to Mr. Gaurav Bhalla because he's the manufacturer of lighting. Mr. Bhalla, in your opinion, how technology would guide the future of lighting solutions?
It has got a lot to do with the futuristic lighting required at various applications and various different kind of projects.
Please.
Today, the research is already going on human-centric lighting, wherein the light fixture itself will change its color, temperature, according to the time of the day. Now, apart from this, since we are having our own manufacturing facility and the R&D laboratories also, so there are a lot of researches going on in other areas also. Now, one of the products which was mentioned earlier was the use of smart poles. So we are already having the smart poles, and these are very essential and futuristic product. And it's going to be an essential, you talk of a project of a society, going up to the airports, going up to any kind of project, this is going to be very essential for tomorrow. Automation technologies, these are already available. All luminaires are now, getting synced with devices like Alexa. So lighting will be at your command. You can speak and the lighting will behave accordingly. You can use it, control it through your mobile apps. So all those technologies based upon different kind of applications, starting from residential up to the infra projects, it's going to drive lighting in a totally different manner. And we at Jaquar, we are working on all those different kinds of systems which will be made available.
Okay, so just one line, last word from each one of you. How can we cut lighting pollution? Shera Merchant.
Be more sensitive towards ourselves, humans, as well as to the the environment, the other creatures like animals and birds. Let's be more sensitive.
Great. I think we need to coexist.
Yes, absolutely.
Nandita Bhatt, very quickly.
I'll just say it's like correct illuminating. Let the light be enlightening all of us and let it be the music to our eyes. That's how the sustainability will be.
Wonderful. Very well said. Mr. Suresh.
Bring the light, not the heat or the glare, and make it cheaper or costlier or not costlier, economic.
So I think the buzzword should be lighting for all.
Yes, lighting for all. I think that's the right way.
Yes, Ekta, Sanghvi, your thoughts.
Let the lights be integrated, efficient in their output. Please also consider the bounce back of every light so that your glare reduces. These are some parameters to be considered.
Great, thank you, Mr. Bhalla.
Selection of the right luminaire for the right application. Leave the job to the professionals.
Thank you all very much for a very enlightening session. Some wonderful insights which have been brought in today's session. And I'm so grateful for all of you to have spared your valuable time to be part of this event. And we look forward to more engaging sessions in future. Thank you very much. And over to you, Pinky.
Thank you so much to all the esteemed panelists. That was a very insightful session. I learned a lot. And yes, I think we all need to be a little more sensitive towards us as well as our environment. Very, very important. I would like to once again thank all our esteemed panelists for being here today, taking out time and giving us such a wonderful, wonderful session. And we're going to see you again for the next webinar. Everyone, please join and register and attend our next webinar. I am Pinky K signing off. Thank you so much, everyone.